Them softball games about to kill me. I get home till what? 11:15 last night. Didn't start till 8. Quit out Williamsport.
That's a fun drive.
Oh.
Good cooking roll.
When?
What day was it?
Oh, like this week?
Yeah. Well, last week. I think it's Friday.
They play at the park or?
Grand Park's got a same thing at Kokomo, not quite as big.
Have they got a park like that? Like Grand Park there?
Yeah.
Wow.
$5.
I know they got that.
They charge $12 to get in.
Big.
That's how they pay for it, I guess. But
Huh.
I said, man, that's one.
That's probably as much as the Aviators.
It's $5.
Yeah.
$35 for a weekend.
What's Grand Park, you say?
Here we all are. Look at us.
How much is Grand Park?
Same.
All that now.
It's
It's same,
$12.
it's all tied in.
Yeah,
the
everybody's
same?
here and what we're saying.
Because they played there, and then the next day, or next game was at Grand Park.
No, not too far apart though.
I don't know, it's about an hour drive or less.
Well, Kokomo's an hour. Grand
For
Park.
us.
Yeah.
And it's an hour and 15 for me to go to Grand Park.
I mean, if I was between Grand Park and
I don't
Kokomo,
know. No, I don't.
that could be probably a half hour or so, maybe.
That area's building up fast. Kokomo wasn't. Didn't see them.
Right here. Okay, I think, hold on. Where's the key at? Right here.
Did we ever talk about summer
Right here, I got it.
sewage rates?
Live transfer.
I missed that then.
I think she does it.
Can you see it? Okay.
I may not get here.
Should I share it to Facebook? Sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Alright. Okay, June 11, 2025 meeting, and we are doing live, but we are testing today. So just letting everybody know if anybody's viewing it, so let's test today.
Okay.
Okay.
Minutes. I have a question, visions on the minutes.
Make a motion to pass the minutes.
Have a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I wasn't here, so. Oh, I got one. How'd you do with that?
You're getting ahead of yourself.
I know. Gina threw it out there. I just grabbed it.
Oh, look at me here.
I know.
Free for all,
In
right?
this one meeting, I'm completely wrong.
And the same with the accounts payable. Any questions or revisions on that?
I make a motion to accept the accounts payable as presented.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, signal by saying aye.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have to sign it. Before we get into any old new business, Ken's asked if he could go first tonight. He had another meeting he has to be at.
I have all the plans for the pavilion. These are final. Talked to the Wagner, so I don't know if you want those. Then I have a permit application, Joe, if you wouldn't mind signing that.
What's that one?
Right there. It's just for the state design release for the
Oh,
pavilion. It's right there at the top there. Like, yeah. And then thank you very much, Emmett. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Chief, and thank you very much, Regina, for the patience. Emmett works cheap. Thin Mint cookies, he's good. So, and then I think it's working pretty fine, Regina.
Oh, he's got one?
That's all I've got, unless you have any questions.
yeah, there's a couple, but, as far as that's been turned over to him as a release to go, right?
The
Pavilion.
as soon as we
But
get
they're
permits,
good.
yes, the drawings are what he said. They're fine. He said they're what he wants. There'll be a 2-foot overhang, 24-foot wide slab, and there'll be 2-foot overhang on both sides, and it'll be 32-foot long. There'll be north-south, 10-foot off the existing pavilion, or you can make it more than that if you want to. And
Don't
all
we
we
have to for the county?
we're gonna get state permit rehearsed, and then we'll submit to the county. Once the state's just an issue, and then it's all done.
Okay. And Regina's received some money already.
Yes,
Or-
I got, 27,793 from their fund, from
From
Jackson, yeah, the memorial, yeah.
So it's the exact same plan as what we have there now for the building.
Pretty close. It's just different dimensions.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, we just need to add more parking. A lot more parking.
I don't. That's above my pay grade.
yeah,
Yeah.
we get it built, we'll figure out where to park it.
Yeah, that'd be the big thing, is just once it's in, figure out how far I can extend the existing parking, but yeah, that'll be fairly easy.
You might give us an update on the water project as far as, we could get into that a little bit before you leave.
I believe your attorney has
Extension. Yeah.
a
he's got-
bond introduced.
Yeah, let's do that before you leave.
And they have said that if we delay a little bit, you'll get a better rate. Right now, you're 3.88, and they're trying to get you down to 2. I don't know if that happened or not, but right now you don't have to raise rates at all if you choose not to. But if you get down to 2, it's even a better rate. And I'm not sure if they'll give you additional cash, but if they get an additional program, they have given additional cash. But I don't know that. But that's so we're gonna push it back a little bit. I'm not sure if you heard that or not.
No, yeah, cause originally she was asking if we were gonna push it up instead, the other way around,
Okay.
to pass it tonight, but we don't need to.
No, you can pass it tonight, and then
That's,
we can just delay the actual closing and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Okay.
still within the 90-day window, right?
Window.
So we can get more, better rates.
Well, right now they dropped you by about 2%. If we can drop another 2%, that'd be great.
Wow.
And if
Yeah.
they give you any more money, that'd be great too. So,
Okay.
then you can start construction probably sometime in August, or in August, sometime in September.
And then, have you started on the sewer project as far as just coming up with
We
it?
walked through the project, and I've got a sculpt drawing I'm putting together with all the pieces and parts. And I need to sit down with Emmett and go make sure that's why, because we got changed a little bit when we walked it with Scott.
Right.
We are working on that, and hopefully the second round we can submit for funding. We're looking for a $750,000 grant, and then the rest will just simply be low interest loans, and I think maybe you might even be in the traditional program with that, but I don't know. But if you want to get it in pretty soon, because I understand that these programs have been targeted for termination by Trump. So,
Any question on that? Everybody? And then lastly, the blacktopping, what's the schedule on that?
did you talk to him, Emmett?
Yeah, he called, he wasn't sure, they were thinking here sometime soon, they might be able to, they get crews done with other projects, they might be able to get in and, start tearing out the old curbs on Railroad, kinda getting it all prepped, so then that way they can kinda be ahead of the game on that. And with that one, it doesn't affect as many driveways or anything like that, cause this section on Wood Street, they're gonna have to do a little bit of reworking on slopes on some of the drives and sidewalks, so it's gonna be a little more, extensive on getting all the grades and everything right, keep water flowing right, so they can, that was, I think last week talked to him, he said maybe couple weeks from then, that they might be able to get in and get started doing some of the prep work for the concrete for the curbs.
That's kinda what he did over here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Put the curbs in first and stuff.
Yeah,
Go back.
they came in, tore the old out, and got everything prepped for the curbs first, so then that way they can hopefully just come in and
Just lay blacktop.
do blacktop, more or less all at once.
He guarantees that it'll be done prior to the Apple Poplar Festival.
Okay,
It'd be nice.
sounds good. Anything else for Ken before he leaves?
Sorry for the glitch, it's working now.
Nope.
Thank you. We can do some more training if you want to.
Yeah.
But up and running. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken.
Okay, one other thing before we get into old new business, received a letter which I posted, I don't remember ever appointing anybody for that position years ago, so I guess that's our job to do. We've had three people, one, Max Eldridge said he would if nobody wanted it, so, but we have had two people ask, from what I understand. I was hoping they'd be here tonight, but.
I have one, Michael Groback,
Okay,
so I have this one, he's interested in it.
okay. And then, is he the one that comes here once in a while?
He's the
I
one,
couldn't
remember, for
remember
the
his name.
van at the time. He talked about when they had that community van.
Oh, I don't remember him. Oh.
He,
But isn't he the one that comes here once in a while, or you see him walking his dog? once?
yes, this.
I couldn't remember his name, I didn't.
Yeah, that was him, that walks the dog.
So him, and then the other was
Chris Hale.
Chris Hale.
He was at the last meeting.
It's kind of a thankless job, it's 2 meetings in the year, and that's all you do.
So who was the third person?
Michael Groback and
Max.
Max and Chris
Max,
Hale.
Okay.
But Max said his was just if we couldn't find anybody. Other than that, he didn't want it. So what's your opinions?
Well, I know Chris personally, so I think he'd be a good one to have on. He just built a new house on First Street up there, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And he's a Brookston kid, through and through. His dad was too, so.
Comments?
I'm, along with Terry, I know Chris since he was a little kid, and
Okay.
I think he'd be a very good pick for the job.
All right, wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Second.
appoint Chris.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Chris Hale. Any new or old business you'd like to discuss? I know we've got this, I guess we can throw that in there now.
Yeah, it comes after that.
The bond ordinance, is that what you
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, all right, so there's, if we want to go ahead and adopt it tonight, which seems to make the most sense to go ahead and do, there's a process you do to do that. So first we need one council member to move to request to adopt it in the first meeting, and we vote on that. Then we have to pass a motion to suspend the rules to be able to do it on the first one, and then the third time the one is to actually adopt it. So those are the 3 motions that we'll need, so you just do
Anybody wanna
those
make a
one after
motion
the
to
other.
suspend?
First, we're adopting.
So the first motion is to adopt an ordinance on 1 reading, that's the
Oh.
first motion.
I'll make a motion to
I'll second.
adopt a motion on first reading.
Give a second. It's Terry, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, and then the next is a motion to suspend the rules to consider it for adoption.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules to consider it for adoption.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, and then the last is a motion to approve the ordinance for the bond, and what's the ordinance number for that one, Regina?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Number
Ordinance number 4.
number 4, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 4.
I'll second it.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Is there anywhere to sign on this or not?
Yes, it's on page 35, I believe.
Thanks,
It's the
I
signature
got to
page.
looking through that. I'm not printing this out.
It's way back there.
Yeah, exactly.
Page 35.
Okay.
I have, oh, they were.
Contract for a printer, ain't it'll get me.
Okay.
You have reached your max.
I might pull this out.
Yeah, just
I'll
pull it
pass
out
on.
and we can put it back in there.
You have more than one to do?
I wanna do a couple at least.
Yeah, do at least a couple, so you, at least you have one, and we need to get an
Right.
original back to bond council, and I wouldn't mind having one as well, if you wanna do 3 of them.
Okay. Sign that one.
Need another signature page, I can unclip one from mine. Staple it.
That'll go back in here, I guess.
You have one and I have one.
I'll send her another
Okay,
one
and
for
the
me.
rest of ours, okay.
First one in the middle there. You get back to me. Nope, you're fine.
One more.
And just put today's date on there, right? So we'll do that.
Yeah, it gets back to me, no problem.
Okay.
I thought there was one more, I thought.
Yep.
I was thinking.
It just went the other way around.
Yeah.
Okay, anything on new or old business you wanna talk about before we get into?
I was gonna ask, do we have a summer sewer right in place right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I missed that. I don't think I missed a
May
meeting.
read for the June 1 bill.
Okay. I just don't remember addressing it, so.
Anything else? Okay, we've been discussing the parks, but I wanna get, Him and I have had a discussion, I think Dawn's noticed, we've been having some problems at the baseball park restroom. I mean, when you look at it, you've kinda outgrown it, I think it's not, I don't think we're somewhat ADA compliant, but, we're having some problem, then run into a problem today, I guess, that the new Sloan valve we put in a couple months ago had a fault, so they're gonna replace it. But that's something the board can think about is, do we wanna look at maybe expanding that and redo it? I've got some ideas, but I don't know the answers to all of it, but I think you can put all the plumbing back in a wall where nobody can get to it, and you can even make a flushometer, so it's, number one, it's either recognizes there or push a button. I think the more we can get away from the people, because right now, anybody can go in there and jump on it or do anything, and I'm not sure that hasn't happened. But also then the doors are a little tight. I don't know if
Yeah.
a wheelchair could get in there if they had.
I don't think
No,
so.
it doesn't look like that.
And that's, you know, it's been many years ago when we done this,
Oh
so
my gosh.
I vaguely remember it. But it's something we might look at and maybe ask Ken to draw up what. And the other question would be, would we want to keep it at the same place? I'm kind of leaning towards yes, because the plumbing and everything's right there, and we do have a block building. The building's
Got that with the.
pretty solid.
Well, and you also have all your concrete there, so anybody's in a wheelchair, if you move it,
Exactly.
you're gonna have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, because the only option I was thinking about if you wanted to move it out between all the fields, but
No.
that'd be a pain.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Like
personally,
the concession stands right there, so.
I'd personally
Yeah.
rather see it right there.
Yeah, I think that's the best spot.
Yeah. So I'll get something drawn up, see how much, I don't have a clue. But if we can make it as,
And
Right.
then maybe with some, can we put blow dryers in there instead of paper towels?
that's a possibility.
So then, that's what the trash seems to fill up with the
Mhm.
most, and then people just, nobody pushes it down, they just throw it on start throwing it on the floor.
Yeah, and I'm, at this point, I've
Yeah, it's good.
talked to summer baseball, cause they're by rights, after every game, they're supposed to clean it. And I don't think it's happening, obviously, cause you said it was
The
bad today.
men's bathroom was the same as it was last week, so I know it was not clean.
You see that, they're supposed to when
So I don't know if we need to make them hire a cleaning service to know that it gets done, or what we need to do with
Well,
them,
the
but they
biggest-
are not cleaning them.
concession people would do it.
That's what it was
Okay.
supposed to be. And
Yeah.
he's
I
been
took a
told-
picture of the toilet last week, and I took a picture of the toilet,
Yep.
the same toilet this week, and it's the exact same as it was last week.
And they I know for a
Dirty,
fact they had a
smelly
game
urine.
last night, so.
Do we need to have the,
Is it?
I haven't come in,
Have
cause
them
I,
come to
like I
the
said, I've had an email, and he's answered every one of them.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of looking at, now
I believe you.
he does
Yeah.
have, he does have a fair
It's like
pushback. They don't have all that many games
bathroom
like
checker.
years ago. I don't know how many, but they don't have games every night, so. But still, they need to step up and
And
do.
for the past 3 weeks, they've left pallets leaning up against their building.
Really,
Pallets.
Mm-hmm.
There's been 2 of them leaning up against the building, and they've been there for like
I will ask
3
him to
weeks.
come next meeting, cause like I said,
Nobody's
There's a dumpster right
moved
there.
them. Taking care of them.
Can use that full one that.
Hey, they gotta realize.
I don't know, they get
Right there.
supplies in on a pallet and they don't want it inside their building, so they just lean it up against their
They
building.
still need to,
There's a dumpster right there.
he's quite aware, cause
Well, you know, it's a little ways down to the dumpster
Oh,
with
that's
them
a long
pallets.
walk.
yeah.
would that be an option for us if they don't clean it, we hire a service and charge them?
for it.
Charge them.
Might be an option.
So that might be something we can mention to them as well.
So, I mean, assuming you guys have a.
Yeah, I think he needs to
contract
hear
with
it
them.
from the board too.
Just
'cause-
because there was
yeah.
one of his coaches that complained to my son while he was at work, who is a coach for baseball down here, and his wife went in the bathrooms and she was really disgusted. They were nasty and gross, and Aaron's like, really? My mom's on the board. He's like, yeah, they were dirty and filthy, you know, and I'm just like, seriously? He's blaming us. He doesn't know that it's his association that's supposed to be cleaning these
Exactly.
bathrooms.
Okay, I'll ask him to come, cause he gave me kind of a, trying to delay it, he said they would talk
I
about
don't
it.
wanna take ownership of it.
And I, you know, give them a daggone fields and we mow for them. Used to be they had to mow.
Putting up new fencing possibly for him and stuff.
Yep. So I will ask him. Summer baseball.
Yeah, no, just to add, but yeah, that one valve went in there, found out it was a manufacturing defect. There's a little tiny pinhole in the body of the, and I think the reason why we didn't catch it sooner is because where it's at, there's a lot of adhesive from like an old label or sticker. So I think that was keeping it sealed up for a while, because that was the first one we replaced this year. So then after a while, the pressure just finally,
Right, and then people hitting that toilet with the door all the time.
Mhm.
That, and then it shakes all the plumbing and.
yeah, and I don't know why it's as bad, because the new dividers were made based off the dimensions of the old ones. So I don't know why it ended up being that way.
Is the toilet a little longer than the old ones?
No, because the old one was still an elongated bowl, so that's where I don't know why that the new one is where it's hitting it. Because
I have looked at it though, if we can move the divider out 3 more inches to the west, and it will miss the toilet, I think.
Yeah, biggest thing, we'll just have to figure out a filler for the center divider,
Mhm.
because that's already a decent gap there. Because if we had another 3 inches, you're gonna have a gap that big at the back where you could peek through the person next to you. So
Oh,
So
hey,
that's
hey
the only-
neighbor.
that'd be the only downside to just moving it forward. We'd
I think,
have to figure out filler or get.
but you're right, but we need to
Come
look
on,
at
Emmett.
a complete expansion on it too.
That's funny.
But a good idea on the blowers too.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Okay, next we'll talk about Wood Street Park. I received an email and then I was kind of caught off guard because, to my knowledge, we've never made a motion to go forward on it. And if I'm wrong, fire away at me, but, the frustration part is we all come to meetings twice a month and I've never heard a motion to go forward with it or anything, so let's address it, get through it, and then go from there, because you know, right now we're renting one porta-john. An option would be to put 2 out there, or look at possibly building a new restrooms, but that will take a board decision, so I'm open for discussion.
My opinion is that we just get another porta john from the fact that, you know, the way the other one's used up there by the well building, I mean, it gets abused really bad, doesn't it? And I'm afraid of the closer to the residents there, it's hard to tell what goes in behind closed doors, what goes on.
What are you talking about, Terry?
Well, they've got one by the well building up there.
Oh,
Yeah, there at the filter building, there's public restroom in there. And yeah, like Terry said, I mean, the number of times the stuff we've had to clean up in there or fix.
The sink, they knocked the
Like
sink
we've had the
off the
sink
wall.
pull off the wall, all sorts, you know, then smear stuff all over the walls, throw stuff all over the floor, try to burn stuff in there even.
Gross.
But I think they do a good
People.
job of, how often they clean out the
Every
porta johns?
Monday.
Every week.
Porta
Well,
johns.
sounds like we need a camera up there.
No problem. I mean, you can catch who's going in and out, but yeah, that'd be about it, but.
But if they clean it out every week, I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, on the porta johns, yeah, they're here every week. I believe Mondays is when they do it for the porta john down there at Wood Street.
We just have them for a few months, just during the warm weather, and then
Yeah.
nobody's there in the winter. They take them around Halloween. I haven't picked that for Halloween, so as it gets.
Right now, it'd be a lot less expensive to do that than to try to do all the plumbing and pour slabs.
And I'm open to all opinions, so. go
I'm for
ahead.
bathrooms.
well, I don't know if you guys remember, but about 2.5 years ago, we got that big grant for all the, American Rescue. And we kinda set up a list of projects that we'd like to do. And that bathroom down there was one of them we asked to put on the list. But we never got any quote to what that would cost us. So that's why we didn't put a motion to accept it or deny it.
Yeah, my frustration from the email was nobody's pushed to get a quote or do whatever,
Well, we asked, Joe, that was in August and September. And we did ask for a quote, and then we didn't get it, and then towards the end of the year, when we asked for budget, you asked for budget stuff, we asked to have it put in the budget for the following year, 2023. It never got put in the budget.
which we had no quote. That's my frustration.
Well,
And why didn't anybody bring it up in a motion or
it was brought up in.
as a motion?
In 23, because all the other projects, you've had, Ken get us a quote, somebody give us a quote, brought it to the board, and then we vote on it and make a motion. That's the way we've done it. We never got anything to start with on the bathroom.
Well, I know Ken made a drawing. There is a drawing of it. that
I've
he
never
presented.
seen it.
Yeah, he presented it. I don't know
I've
when.
never seen
It's
it.
been a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's my frustration, is we asked for it, we never got, anything in the budget, we never got any kind of estimate on what it would cost. So it's kinda hard to say, yeah, I wanna put this in, but I don't know if it's gonna
No, I
cost
understand.
50,000 or, 200,000.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, in 23, somebody asked, why wasn't this in the budget? We asked for it and it was omitted, and it just keeps getting dropped. It's like, well, are we gonna at least try to get a quote and see if it's something we wanna do?
Mm-hmm.
And that, I don't feel that it's ever happened.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm covered with millions of things, but I don't have an excuse for it other than we've got a board that can bring things up constantly and kick whoever he asks to get it done, so. Cause to me, right now, and you tell me if I'm wrong, cause number one, do we wanna put a bathroom down there? What's the board's feeling on that?
I would like to see a bathroom down there, even if we close it in the fall and, open it back in the spring. I just think it'd be.
And I understand that both sides on this. So it'd be nice to have it if we didn't have
Mhm.
Emmett tying up 3 or 4 hours every.
But I think, and just like in the one by the water plant, I think we should put a camera outside the building, see who goes in and comes out, and then put a
That's a good
sign
point.
inside the building that says, you know, we have a camera monitoring who's
It's a good point.
going in
I
and
agree
out.
with you.
And, you know, that might help with some of those
Deter them.
problems. That's my opinion.
Well, we
Yeah.
probably need to get the pavilion built first and then see where we can put it if we're gonna do that.
It would have been good to build one in the pavilion,
Well,
but what, you
But
know,
we have no control in that pavilion. Our pavilion, we could have, yes.
that
I
pavilion's
mean,
probably
just to
by somebody else.
interject, we might, might still be able to do that, and that might be the way we need to go, cause depending on where the pavilion goes, if we have to expand parking, that's gonna eat into the space where the bathroom would go, so
Well, yeah, we can always add to that
where we
pavilion.
Yeah.
might be the way to go is to put it in or attached to the existing one for that reason.
But we can't do that without redoing a whole permit,
Oh, I know.
which they want it done by August, or by festival.
No,
he's
no,
saying
not the
our,
new one,
our
our-
existing
Our
one.
existing one.
Oh, you're,
Uh-huh.
oh, I
What
was
I'm
just,
saying is
I misunderstood you.
Just
Okay.
for the fact, cause depending on, based on where the new one's gonna go, and if we're needing to expand parking,
Okay,
if we put it in that area between the two, that's gonna eat up the space we're gonna have for expanding parking, so that just,
Mhm.
that might be the way to go.
Mhm.
Alright, so when you come in, I'll ask Ken to bring the drawings that he had. I don't know if they're relevant to what we're looking for. I'll have him get an estimate of what potentially could be until we know where we're putting it, but we could get an idea on the ballpark.
so you're talking about putting it on the east end or the west end?
Well, that'd be something we'd figure out would be the best spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure,
Just the west end.
cause when I look at the plumbing,
Cause ideally I think that if we put one up and if we did that, it'd probably be cheaper, cause you can do more of your standard 2x4 lumber framing of it.
Right, or a block building.
And well, if we're doing it.
Yeah,
in
it
the
would have to
pavilion,
go on the east end because there's only 10 foot in between those two pavilions.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take that assignment, I'll do that, but then, once we get together, we'd still need a discussion and a vote to proceed or stay with the, porta johns.
I
And
think
that
once
fair?
we have the information, then yeah, we should
Okay.
discuss it, we can.
Okay, I'll take that.
when I stopped by the Chalmers Park today, they rent out their shelters. So they make money on their shelters. Anywhere from $35 up to $50.
Who manages that?
Looks like town hall.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not your attorney, but
I'm a firm believer people should use it, I mean, if they wanna,
and we do it as donations in Chalmers because
Right.
by statute you're not
Yeah.
allowed to legally.
Donations, so they can put it in a fund
They
to
can donate it if
reuse
they want
for,
to reuse for park. That's what they do. So,
for the park or for the
Some people do,
bathroom
some people
needs
don't.
or whatever.
okay,
but that's
let's look into that and we can make them more decisions on that
It'll have
also.
to be labeled as a donation.
yeah, it has to be labeled as a donation because you're
Mhm.
by statute you're not supposed to charge for use of the park, but you can do.
Right,
You can request donations and such for it. So.
How
Now,
do
what
they-
happens if you got two people wanting these at the same time?
They have
Two
a
shelters.
sign up, right? They just have a sign up and people just call in and sign up when they want
So
to
they
use
don't,
it.
but if they don't call in and then
Yeah,
they're
right.
out of luck if
Then you're
somebody
out of
else is already there.
How do they keep public off of there? I mean, if it's a public park. Are you talking about the shelters?
Like in Lafayette,
Yeah, I mean, on
they
Lafayette,
put
they
signs
all-
on
they
there
sign
that
up.
says reserved
From
from
this time.
such and such time
Oh,
to such
okay.
and such time.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad
Yeah.
idea, I just,
I was at McGraw Park the other weekend and there were people sitting on there, but there was a sign that said reserved this time and this time, and everybody got up and laughed when the people
I'm sure
came
they
and
would.
started
Yeah.
decorating and stuff because their names were on it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
yeah, I'm not,
And there were about 10 or 15 people sitting under there too.
I'm just type person, I'm glad we've been able to give that to the people, I mean,
Who puts the signs up and stuff, who takes care of that?
And Chalmers is I think the clerk treasurer does. I mean, she keeps track of the calendar. I don't know
Yeah.
specifically who actually goes to the park and puts the sign up.
Puts
but
a sign up.
somebody,
Okay.
one of them does. So maybe one of the employees, but it's just they've had a lot less hassle with because people know to call in and to see if it's available. So I mean, people then know, oh, it's going to be available. I can actually make a plan and
Do they put
have
a
something
sign on
there,
the, on the park, on the
Yeah.
picture
on the
day?
pavilion.
You'd have
Yeah.
So you
to.
need to, you
Yeah.
need to reserve it.
I don't know if they do. I think it's just been in their newsletter and such, so people
Yeah.
tend to know that that's what their
I don't know,
policy
So I
is.
think it'd be a
but-
good idea to have a plaque there saying who to call if you want
Yeah,
to
if
reserve
you
it.
Yeah.
wanna- if you wanna reserve
Most
it.
people
I
don't even know
sent
they
Joe
can.
pictures of their pavilion,
Yeah, anyway.
which it looks like that. That's a bathroom.
Now, they just put one stall in there?
There's one for the men and one for the
Okay,
women.
okay.
Yeah, one stall, and then they've got nice tables. They've actually got a kitchenette in that.
Wow, well, far.
Some damage is there.
Yeah.
They
So
bring their own food, cook on it.
otherwise it's locked
That's good.
until unless you rent it or
Unless you
something.
rent it.
Oh, so that is locked?
The kitchenette
The
is
kitchen.
locked.
Oh, the kitchenette's locked,
unless
okay.
you rent it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not good.
Looks like a little concession stand, got a little window that rolls up and a little serving
Oh.
area.
Alright, so look into that, and we'll bring all this to a vote sometime here, possibly next meeting. I'll see how quick Ken can get everything. I know he's covered up with a lot of other stuff, but
So how many stalls were you thinking, like at the park?
Like ballpark, I think like on the men's side, I think it'd be nice to add maybe another stool and then another urinal to have a shorter urinal.
For
'cause I think
kids.
that's part of it is kids not being able
Ah.
to use that urinal, so they
Yeah, they
miss.
can't go that high.
That's
So I
That
think
good
that
aim,
would-
yeah.
I think having two stools.
and that's old guys
sometimes they do
too.
it on
Yeah.
purpose.
And then a shorter, then a second urinal that's shorter, and then I'd say at least one more,
I
if
agree.
not two more on the women's side if possible, depending on how
Four.
big we can go.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
There's room to
Okay.
go bigger.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing with either of the bathrooms, I think would be good, even if we winterize them in the winter, I think it'd be beneficial to put up just some smaller, like ceiling electric heaters, just enough to help keep it more at that 40 to 50 over the winter. Just
Yeah.
because there've been plenty of winters up there at ballpark, we've blown lines out, put plenty of antifreeze in, and we still have issues that I think that it might pay off in the long run for the winter, just to have
Yeah.
you know, a couple small heaters just to keep it there at that 40 to
Chill.
50.
It's insulated good, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like-
Okay. Alright, I'll try to have that by next meeting if Ken's
Oh,
people. Anything else on that discussion?
I think it'd be kind of almost impractical at this time, wouldn't it, to get it already this
Oh,
year?
by this year?
Yeah, this year, yeah.
It'd be hard.
Yeah, I think this season will be done by the time they get to start.
Yeah, I think time we
Yeah,
get a plan, look it over, might have some changes, and then we gotta go back and,
That might be good timing though, cause when they're done with it, that'd be the time to tear it
Exactly.
down, so.
Tear it.
we'll
yeah,
do
that one up there, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. And I did send out to everybody, I'll jump on that too. I told you how much money we got left in all the funds, so some of this stuff that's been mentioned could be done. The question was raised by, I don't know who asked me, on the top you were talking about the stainless. Originally why that was done was because it was deteriorated, and we put that there. We never really talked about doing the whole thing. If, you know, if that's something the board wants to do, we can do, we've had the money yet this year if we had to do it, so, cause that would fall under all utilities and everything, cause, a lot of this stuff, we don't have to do it in a budget per se, because it's used by all, like a mower, it's used for all the utilities, water, sewage, electric, so funding of that would come out of that. So yeah, if you're, anything you wanna do, bring it to the board and we'll yay or nay it and we'll go from there, but, I didn't know if you remembered that or how, the reason we done the original.
Yeah, I think.
'Cause it was deteriorated pretty bad, and that's why we done that. I kinda forgot that. Okay, anything else? I put my,
I got one question, when we were talking about the water study. Do we need to, make a motion to decide which one of those options we're gonna choose, cause I thought we discussed this, you know, earlier, and had decided to pay off the loan and take option 3.
Yes, the only thing that changed was not doing a 3% increase. That's the way I understood it.
Okay.
That's the way I understood it.
I just wasn't sure, you know, he went through an awful lot
I
of
know, we went
stuff.
through a lot, then we get feedback from Baker Tilly, but I didn't realize there was
Baker
potentially,
Tilly's who I was talking about, it seemed like he went through
yeah,
a
they,
lot quick,
and I'll be honest, you gotta watch them.
yeah.
Every study we've ever done, they'll come in with a 20% increase, and you go, there's no friggin' way.
Yeah.
So we've always pushed back, remember, if we could had that discussion, but they did come up with a good thing. If we can find cheaper money, that'd be big. That'll buy us more time.
But the other thing was, you know, we talked about paying off that loan, so we're gonna proceed with
Yes.
paying that off.
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay,
And that's the way you understood it.
That's what I understood.
Yeah, it would be debt free,
okay, okay.
because that way we don't have to have 2 different.
Yes, I understand.
Hopefully it works out for better than we thought, so. Anything else? That's all I got. You had fireworks. I'm gonna throw that to you, fireworks. You
Me.
got fireworks.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm getting new computers, which I've already told you we were doing that. We found out on Linda's there was a infection. He called it an infection, so we had to get that taken care of before we get our new computers. So we'll be getting those pretty soon. Glow sticks. I had a guy call me, and he's wanting to know if he can walk around and sell glow sticks and necklaces during the fireworks down there at the park area.
I think they've done it in the past anyway.
Yeah. We bought our own, brought it to the park.
Yeah, so are you okay with that?
I mean, if you let one guy do it, then what, then how's it gonna go from there?
That's what I'm concerned with,
Yeah.
you know, then the other vendors also.
They say, well, I wanna sell this, or I wanna sell that.
Yeah, so it's totally up to you guys. How you want me to just call him and tell him
Basically
no?
just say we don't get permits for that. I mean,
We don't,
Yeah.
no.
So I know, call him and tell him no,
Yeah.
we have to give him a
He'll
call.
get
No.
involved in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that gets to be a whole.
Yeah,
They've done it in the
Always
past,
is.
just walk around, but
Yeah.
yeah.
but then you get people wanting to sell snow cones
And then they wanna
you
sell
know,
something
We did
else,
have
and,
food.
yeah, it's just a
Boy
constant.
Scouts sell popcorn one time,
Yeah.
that's a Boy Scout
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
so.
that's different, non-profit.
Scouts
we
is
could-
one.
You could understand that certainly, but that's,
I agree,
Okay.
totally.
That's all I have.
Okay, and then Ken, we've already done. Any questions for Gina or anything else? If not, Terry, what's happening with you, buddy?
Oh, have I got a lot for you?
I got you blocked in for 15 minutes.
Okay.
15. I
Man,
had,
that-
I had 5.
Oh, no, he can't do that in 5.
Okay, we had some problems there getting in, doing things on our right of way there. Thompson did allow us to go in and do the work. They intend to come back tomorrow and take out what poles they can of the old ones. There's a couple that we're not gonna take out until TV Cable does something with theirs. So, whatever they get cleaned up, tomorrow we're gonna leave the old wire. And then, as soon as they harvest, we'll go in there and replace the wire. It'll take 2 or 3 more trips messing with the wire, and I really don't wanna tear it up. One more trip, he can go in, strip out, and as he works out, he'll come out to the road.
I thought it went really
and-
smooth. But
But
there
all
wasn't
the,
any outage, was there?
what's that?
There wasn't even an outage, was there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
There was one?
there was,
Just
we were
individual.
short,
Individuals.
yeah, short time.
they worked them out one pole at a time
It went well.
on, and he did part of the swap around there, but, no, it went, as far as outages, it worked out better than I thought it
I did.
was.
That's what.
Because we intended to kill it and just start at the back and work our way out, thinking we would be done in a day.
Mhm.
Well, that first pole that they started on had nothing but rocks, roots, and they couldn't stick the auger in there because there was so much stuff around it that they couldn't use the auger. So that's what ate up the first part of that first day. Soon as they get done, within the next 2 weeks, we intend to do that piece behind Max down to Joe's house. Those 3 poles, the way we're gonna rework that, and that will have all new poles and all the pieces that are right away there.
Was you relocating the transformer?
Yeah, well, no, the transformer
Stay right
stays
where
the
it's at?
same.
Okay.
We're just gonna take the services down, replace the pole right where it's at, and then put you back up
I see.
on there, and then that essentially will stay at that end. And then we're gonna cut the wire down from your transformer pole that goes through those trees to the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the fall comes, we're gonna go in there and cut the top of that pole off and leave it for TV cable.
Okay.
And that way it'll be
I
there.
got a question. You say the cable's gonna be coming back to?
I don't know the cable will take those out. We're going to give them the pole,
Right.
so that we don't have to
Looks
mess.
like
No,
they'll
I
be-
mean, are they gonna come back and redo their wires or something, you said? Is that?
Yes,
Okay.
they're putting the copper wire, the old wire that's been up there since the day it went in,
Yeah.
they're setting it back on the new insulators. That, because otherwise, they'd have to pull the wire in and work the way back. It'd be 2 or 3 more passes, and it'll be fine until fall, till the crops are out.
Well, the reason I was asking is the cable's coming because when they raise the poles up, now my cable wires stretch really, really tight. And it needs to be a new cable probably from my box up
Yeah.
to the pole.
Yeah, that,
And I talked to Emmett about it, but, we finally figured out why it was stretched.
yeah, we went higher
Yeah,
in
yeah.
what we were doing.
So
Yeah.
if they're here, you could ask them,
Yeah, we can try and get a hold of them.
or, okay.
They were aware we were doing it, but as our schedule stretched on,
Right,
you know, we just needed to go when we could go.
yeah,
Cause I was getting really concerned with those 60 and 70 mile an hour winds. If we'd ever got one of those from the east, a couple of those poles would have been down because there's nothing holding them. The houses, right now when the wind come from the west, the service held them. But if it had came from the east, we'd have been in trouble there. But we're at a good point now to where when they pull out, we'll be okay until fall with no problem. But I want to go ahead and finish that other piece, and that will have everything pretty much cleaned up on our pole testes except the park. We've still got those poles at the south end of the park, but I opted to, those all have a guy and a service. So they couldn't fall unless something breaks in that process. So I'm gonna wait until we get our next round of poles, because when we get done, we're only gonna have 2 poles left to make it all the way to next April, when we get all done.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we've used all of our poles, because they let us bank our poles through the years. If we had 3 left over, they banked it. So with this project here and what we've done with the rest of the pole testing ones that we did, we're going to be down to just 2 poles for the rest of 2025's term. For the most part, I think that'll be fine. And any other time, it's a wreck or somebody hits the pole. So it's an insurance claim when it gets tore down. So we get reimbursed in that process. We may be out for a period until the insurance company pays, but we should get even with our money on those. That's why I felt going ahead and doing those poles at max, even though that doesn't leave us much, then the project's kind of done in that process.
good.
So that's kind of where we're at with that. Any questions? I know the contractors, the weather kept getting us stuck to where they either had storms or whatever. So Carol White used their contractors to get it done. Because I said, you know, we've got a window, he's gonna let us in. Somebody's gotta show up and do the work. so they had the contractors come and do that.
Good.
Which, it's relevant to us
Right.
in that process. But that's why you didn't see a Carol White vehicle doing the work. Carol White will be doing the other piece because they're not gonna back that big truck across that guy's concrete drive. That's not gonna happen. So,
Okay.
that's all I have.
All right.
Okay.
5 minutes.
Did good, Terry, did good.
Six. Yeah,
I figured somebody'd have more questions.
everything went
Yeah.
really smooth.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Jason's not here tonight. Emmett, what do you got?
Sewer, not really new to report there, everything's been going good. Water plant, that's been going good. Just got an email this evening, we're having our sanitary survey next week, and that's usually every 3 years. IDEM comes in, they do their inspection, walkthrough of everything.
I give you a heads up.
Yeah, 'cause they usually try to schedule it. So yeah, the inspector, she emailed me this evening asking what time, so Tuesday next week, we got that going on. And then the only other thing we got is here recently we had got a main leak that came up, it's a small one, over there in the alley between Mills and Brackney. And then had a service line leak at 511 Mills at Roger Urbaugh's house on our side. So I'm getting a hold of AccuDig to schedule a time in so I can get them both dug at the same time so we can get those fixed hopefully in the same day. Otherwise everything's been going good. Terry kind of covered everything on the electric. The only other thing we got is on the 5th, went and looked at and purchased a set of bleachers that Don found that the YWCA had for sale. They had 5 sets for $100 a piece. They were 3-row bleachers. Most of ours out there
They worked
are
out.
4-row, but they worked out really well, especially out like field 3 and 4, because
Yeah.
there's usually not as many people sitting in them.
Yeah.
And with having those out there, when we got them out there, got everything moved around, we only have the 2 sets of steel and wood bleachers left, and those are the big ones on field 1. So we get those replaced, will be the all aluminum out there, and it's looking good with them all being somewhat matching except for the 2. So those worked out great. And then that's about it. And then of course I sent out the list of the budget items.
I got a question about the dump truck. What kind of shape is the one we have now? Having a lot of issues or?
Well, just February this year, we had to put transmission in it. It's getting to be, it's 25 years old. Just the cab is starting to get rustier, like the rocker panels and all that, to where it's getting harder to keep steps on it. And it's just showing its age. Like I said, especially with having the transmission having gone out, it's just getting up there, and it's it's been the truck that's always done the kind of the heavy lifting.
Getting into life then for
Mhm.
that vehicle, okay. And then same thing with the hydrovac, so that's how old is that old one?
We don't have one. A hydrovac, I think you're thinking the leaf vac. A hydrovac
yeah.
is like what AccuDig has.
Okay.
And looking to get a trailer, because there's a lot of these leaks and stuff that, if we had one, we could do that.
Okay,
It's just with
yeah,
having to dig with the Bobcat and running pumps, the time it takes with having to have all that set up right, and then any mechanical digging with how much is buried these days, that it's really easy to snag anything even with spotter watching.
So this is this a self-propelled, drivable type thing, or is it?
No, it's a trailer.
Pull behind the pickup,
Yep.
kinda like your sewer jet,
Yes.
okay.
and you got enough, it's got its own winch and all that.
Yeah, it'll have boom.
It's all
It'll
self-contained.
have boom for suction hose. It's like the leaf vac, and it's got its own power plant on it. It runs everything. It's got the tank that dumps itself. But I'm not saying we'd use it for other things too. Like whenever we got to work on catch basins, a lot of them. There's
Right.
the older ones that are 10-inch diameter. We got to use post hole diggers to clean them out. Whereas with this, you can just poke it in there. We can go around and get them all cleaned out quicker. But that's the big thing.
Well, I'm trying to, and I'll present it to the board once we get all the facts, is possibly put that on a couple of projects like the sewer job. It's not gonna be, we're not gonna be spending a whole lot of money on sewer, but we could throw those big ticket items in there. And I'll bring it to you guys once we know that prove one way or the other.
Oh, Joe,
Yes,
the agenda, were you gonna be talking about that emergency committee?
yes, we appointed Chris Hale.
What?
Chris Hale was appointed by the board.
Okay,
Yeah, we did that early.
okay, all right then, because Michelle has, about 15 flowers I need to put in the garden.
Oh, boy.
So I'm just gonna head on.
Always something, I know that.
Alright,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before I go, is that it? Anything else for him?
I got one other
Okay,
question.
feel free.
The grasshopper mower,
Yeah.
will it still have the new one will have the capabilities to use the attachments like the old one does?
Well, the one that I have on there price wise, that's a mid mount. It wouldn't be able to use that, but I would keep the old one for
As a backup.
being, yeah, as a backup and being able to use those attachments. Cause the other one I priced out that would be able to use those was another $4,000 or $5,000 more
Yeah.
than what that one was.
Do you think that'd be worth it though, for if the old grasshopper bites the dust? That's, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yes, good point. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Well, with the new one, though, we'd be primarily using that, and we wouldn't be using the older one as much.
So you think it'll hold up?
And it's also, cause the one we got, the way it's set up, cause it's the one that can use the attachments, it's a lot longer. So there are still times that it's a little bit of pain getting into spots, cause it's 8 foot long.
Mhm.
So that's where I was looking at the shorter wheelbase one for that reason, for, getting into some of the areas a little better.
the one you use for snow blade doesn't have a clutch, doesn't need a clutch, does it?
The PTO clutch?
Yeah.
Well, that was what I ended up replacing, and
I know, but you wouldn't need it if you didn't have to, if you didn't have to replace it.
yeah,
For snow removal, you don't need it.
yeah.
You don't need the
Yeah,
clutch.
that's true. That's true. Okay, I just wanted to
You
bring.
said you concrete for shop apron. Isn't there an apron already?
Yeah,
It's
but
about
it's
2
getting
foot.
cracked and it's starting to fall apart in areas.
And then the fuel tanks, aren't they in a,
Well, it's
Like a
not for the
container.
fuel tanks
Container,
themselves,
yeah.
it's for next to it. Cause where they sit, the way the grade, the elevation of the property, it kinda almost immediately slopes towards brake speed. And we're always having to add gravel, and it's just always sloughing off and going down. It gets to the point where, like, especially in the winter time, it's angled enough that even when we clear snow, I've busted my ass on it before, where you just put one that's about the size of the caisson that holds the tanks to where you have a nice flat spot for pulling up onto.
to fuel?
Just cause then that way we won't have to be using as much gravel there, and then, it'll be a little safer in the winter for when we're fueling up. And just all around make it easier for snow removal and all that. But on the concrete work, I figured, to me, the sidewalks are more the priority, of course. But those were just things that I felt would help. Since I was having them get price on the sidewalks, I had him price those out to see what it would be.
Okay, so sidewalk from Relics to 201 East 2nd Street, so
So
that would be that way.
Connect to, yeah.
I
connect
was
to-
looking at that today.
Yeah.
So that would connect to the existing sidewalk, or?
Yes.
It looks like a forest.
Well, that's for right up to her property line.
Yeah.
What-
After that, you're on your own.
Yeah.
To get through the
Bring a,
bushes.
bring a chainsaw so you can get through there.
Well, that was kind of my thought too, is that what's the point in putting a sidewalk there if the other half is all unpassable?
Right, it is, which it is, it's I mean, there's weeds growing. I was looking from the corner coming back to
I
43
think
and
I
it's
agree, we
terrible.
just not even do anything.
Yeah, that's one I don't feel like we should do. I mean, I
agree.
don't think anybody uses that sidewalk
No.
just because of that.
They use the other side.
Yeah, they walk down to the
And
post
it's not,
office.
it's not worth the battle
Yeah,
of.
Yeah, dealing with her.
We've done that for years, and it's not,
Yes, he's
But that one was just a thought on that.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's
that's
right.
fine. I just,
no,
like I said, if we can't
Glad you
make the
brought
whole
up for that.
block passable, then I don't see a point in it.
exactly. Yeah, no
That'd
sense
be
done.
nice.
Throw that one out. Anything else?
Maybe we could do the
I
others.
do have one thing I wanna jump in before we jump to you. Mark sent me a email, and since he couldn't come tonight, he talked to me briefly about it. He's proposing using black chain link fence instead of the standard option. Number one for looks, this is at Wood Street Park area. Plus they don't rust like regular chain link fence does.
Was it rubber coated, are they?
Yeah, they're kind of
Yeah, it's just like the pickleball.
And they do look-
pickleball gear,
they do look
coating
good.
on it.
Okay.
they're not that much more, I don't believe.
No, the cost is,
So he wanted to
Very
know opinion on
common.
that.
That's what we're going with.
And by the ballpark, you do the same collar fence.
yeah,
Okay. And he's questioning, and that is a good question, where that tree fell on this property owner. It fell across the fence. How soon are they gonna remove that?
Where a tree fell where?
remove the tree.
Yeah, it's fallen across the fence,
We took care, I went ahead and took care of that.
so that's all done?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I didn't take care of the half that fell in the yard, just the half that fell on our fence.
okay.
I just went ahead that,
We had a tree fall?
Well, that wasn't ours. It was hers. Fell across our fence, or
but
Which
it
fence?
had fallen and it had
to
taken out the
the
power to the water plant.
south,
Cause the storm that
South
came through on the
where?
Yeah.
16th.
Wood Street Park.
Oh,
Took out half of it, it fell north, missed everything. Well, then the 17th, that Saturday, about mid to late afternoon, the other half decided to go, and it,
Oh, geez.
And then under the same thing, their yard, which I don't know if Troy's, you probably have already addressed, cause I see you addressed a bunch of them.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, he thinks they use a manual push mower. And then the last, he'd like to have an approval for a flagpole down at Wood Street Park at the playground area. Which isn't
After we
bad.
get the pavilion done?
Yeah.
Once we locate it, yeah.
put it on the apron, right?
You gotta
Just
get a
where
light
that
to it.
goes, yeah.
But I think that would be good, putting that one at the other park. Okay, that's all he had, and
Does the light stay on at one at the other park, baseball park?
the what?
The light on the one at the baseball park?
There's no longer a light on that one.
we used to have one.
Yeah, cause there used to be a small brick square structure they built around it, but well before we put all the new concrete in, the baseball had taken that out. So that'd been gone for a long
Only
time.
other option we could do if we wanted to like
It's
put
solar.
it on the concession stand.
I think they make solar ones that you
They
can
make
clamp
solar
to
ones,
the poles.
and attached to, make solar ones attached to the pole.
Yeah,
Do a fine job.
okay. All right, Troy.
I got quite a few little notes written down here. Getting back to the all the information I sent about my activity with the grass and stuff. I see on the agenda that it was brought up. So I say a lot of times that hey, I'm into the season where I'm doing the abatements and that kind of stuff. I just want to kind of give you a visual of
How
the
many?
different stuff I'm looking at all times in the last couple months. So, but that being said, I don't see everything, and if there is something I'm missing or I'm not doing fast enough, just let me know, and I'll bump it up and.
And I don't know that lady. I know we've had a battle too
Yeah, I
on
sent her to abatement.
18, where Victor's used to live.
Yeah.
That whole place is.
Those are trees, aren't they?
It's like a rainforest in the back. I mean, all
It's even
Really?
worse. It's even worse in the back.
It's
Yeah.
like a-
All the bushes
wooded
and
area.
trees, yeah.
But you drive in, you'd see that. That's the only thing you jump at when you drive into town.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show you that I'm
No,
on
that's
top
good.
of a lot of stuff, and the R&M. I got rid of the 2 trucks. I got a hold of Special Olympics. They're gonna at some point, hopefully soon, they're gonna go get that clothes bin. Then they didn't even know it was there. They said it was like lost in the shuffle. They didn't even. I said that the property is under foreclosure, which it is, or it will be soon. I said, so they're gonna get that removed. So that's kind of good. And like there's I had to actually put all these yellow cards in a little book so I could keep
Track of them?
track of what to go back to. So I'm testing my organizational skills on that for sure.
I seen you had Jacobs in the mix. Is that the property?
Yeah, all that down
That's a
there.
mess up there.
It's
It's
awful.
overgrown every year.
It's awful.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I mean, it's even just awful to look at as you're coming into town.
Yeah.
Yep.
Horrible.
So
Same.
a lot of those
Same
are
thing
things
every
I
year.
think
Yeah.
I have to wait till I get the response back and then I can move forward with it.
Okay.
I try to do the ones that I don't think are gonna respond, I try to get a personal service. That way I don't have to send a certified, I can just hand it, then it's good to go for whatever time frame that's on the abatement, so.
Yeah, if you would, if I'm wrong, but when you run across something that you just bumped your head as far as you know, and not getting a response, you might bring it to us and we'll talk about what we can or can't do. Or if we, what battles we wanna choose, I guess.
At least you haven't had to fight Dollar General. It looks like they've been doing a
No,
pretty good job.
they turned 100% turnaround, they're on top of it, so, yeah, that's good. Let's see what else here. My Deputy Martinez, has gotten hired on at the Sheriff's Department, good for him. I mean, I have no ill will towards him, but they have a rule where they can't work part-time for that probation year. However, the chief deputy said he will try to work on maybe getting the okay to have him come work for us again. But we'll see how that goes. It's not up to them, it's up to the sheriff, so we'll see how that works. However, I did get in an email today from another officer who's interested, so I'll look into that and see if he'll be a good fit. Let's see what else. The vehicle has an appointment going forward in Monon tomorrow. There's a thing with the evaporative system. It's like a small air leak, but it's enough to kick on the engine light. It doesn't really affect the engine too much, other than it kicks on the engine light. Did have a cylinder misfire the other day, and then the driver's door lock sometimes with the fob doesn't either unlock or lock, so I'm gonna have all that looked at.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yes.
On the vehicle, we were talking about possibly keeping two. I was, in passing, somebody asked me about it, and do we really wanna keep two vehicles? Cause you've got a price of roughly, what was it, 49
It's 49. That was
For
for
a
an
truck.
F-150 truck.
for a truck and keep a
Which is
vehicle,
fine.
or trade the vehicle
They
in?
Got 4 doors,
Yeah, it'd be like what the sheriff's department, if you see the sheriff's departments have, or the conservation officers.
so you can have people in there.
So I guess the question is, do we wanna keep two vehicles? And then,
My opinion, we only have one officer, and you're gonna have to pay
I agree.
for the maintenance of that vehicle
Yeah,
and
insurance.
insurance all the time, and if you don't use the vehicle, it's gonna have issues, cause anytime something's in storage.
Well, it would make it come in the budget better if we could get, I don't know how much trade-in would be for that deal.
I did ask Bill on for, but he never got back with me. Now I'm a firm believer in the two vehicle system. However, I will concede, until we have a second full-time guy, or
I agree.
the amount of part-time that I had, like if we had 4 part-time guys and had that rotation going, it would be more feasible
Right,
to
right.
have that. Right now, you're right.
If we could go one more round and.
Yeah.
And the car we have now, it has less than 50,000 miles on it. So I mean, we could even go probably even another year with it. I like this car. I mean, it does me good.
It's your call.
But if you're going the trade-in route, maybe maybe you get the most out of it
Before it gets,
because right now, it's at 5 years, so, and it's already starting to show these little things. I don't.
Well, once you
it
find
wouldn't
out-
bother me to keep it another year, but if it's feasible or makes more sense to trade it off to get the better deal out of it, I don't know.
Yeah, if you could
Would
get
you
that,
like
'cause-
the pickup better than the Explorer for a new vehicle, or?
Flip a coin. I mean, I didn't like the Ram,
Yeah.
but the Ford, I like the Fords. And
Big
it's just personal how they sit and stuff that I like, but the Rams I didn't like. But I'd be totally fine keeping
well, get
the
us
car.
price then, cause then I can look at the budget.
Yeah,
too.
I will definitely follow up on that.
Perfect, thank you.
I think that's all I have really, unless I'm forgetting something.
Anything else for George?
No.
Anybody have anything else? Not open for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
watch this